Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. I would like to thank my viewers for continuing to pray for me all of this week. I got about 20 or 30 dislikes, and I hope you will continue hitting the dislike button. This one's a Peter Like show because I'm in a good mood, but please continue to hit the dislike button to pray for me. I want to mention some lessons learned about the situation this week. What had happened was that last Tuesday at my job, which I'm doing really well at, I work at a tutoring center, and one of our students had come to the classroom with food all over her mouth and her hands, and I react badly to milk product. It was Cheetos that she had all over. They were staining her hands and her mouth, and that's just a time bomb for me. So I had to step away from it, and I told her, I got allergies. Why don't you finish your food and clean up? I'll come right back to you. And to her credit, she did. And to the boss's credit, my boss apologized. But at previous jobs, it has not always turned out that way. And at previous jobs, I also often didn't react as appropriately as I did last week, in large part because I used to sit on the financial edge a lot more so than I do today. Today, if I lost that job, it would be a bummer. Years ago, if I lost that job, it was a catastrophe, right? Very, very big difference. And so I learned that a lot of times right or wrong is decided by who has more resources to weather the situation, right? And I don't know what my boss's situation is, but it sounds like the tutoring center needs me a lot more than I need them, and that's a good position to be in. The other thing that I discovered is that a lot of times right or wrong is also decided by who has the better connections, right? I am much more connected than I was even just last year. You guys remember how I was last year in terms of connectivity, right? And uh, the other thing I learned is that when you're at your job and things are not going wrong, like nobody's bringing in anything that's going to set off your allergies, and you're not being quiet fired, and everything's going right, you got to use that time to buy some insurance, if you will, and set good rapport with everybody there. In order to use when things don't go right, right? You can't get too comfortable when everything is going right. Um, the unfortunate thing is that these situations, I know situations are going to come up at work. They always come in different angles that I didn't expect, though. My biggest source of anxiety when I started this job was the potential for the hours to be uncertain. And so, every time I interview for it, and this is not specific to the tutoring center, I make sure that the bathroom doesn't have chemical fragrances. I've been to public places where the toilet had like a puck in it, and that always is a big problem. I was working at another tutoring center when I couldn't use their bathroom because I had to go next door to a sandwich shop, and it annoyed the fuck out of the owner of that sandwich shop. Eventually, I went behind the building to go urinate under a tree, and so it became very distressing because I would literally want to dehydrate myself before going in there just to avoid all of that drama. And at the time, I didn't have good finances. I didn't want to risk rocking the boat by telling my boss about, especially for something like toilet where I could just go behind the building, right? If it were in the classroom itself, I might have said something about it, right? But I've also learned that it's okay to be human, right? Humans have food allergies. Humans sometimes like to take a day off for various social events. And the more you do that, the more you establish yourself as a living creature as opposed to a machine. Right? The last thing you want is for your boss to, to, to forget you are human, right? So I learned it was okay to bring it up. But most importantly, I learned connections and good rapport when things are going right. Make the good rapport, right? And also, the person who has the most bismuth always wins a negotiation, right? This is the Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.